Okay, this is to help with a little bit with recursive formulas. And this is a really good question. It came from a student. And so I just basically copied and pasted their question right here. And they're asking about 6 and 8 on the quiz, which were to write the recursive formula for a sequence. And so what they thought is that the answer should be B because the recursive formula just says to get the next term, take the previous one times 2. So as an example here, a sub 4 is 32. And so they're just saying, well, to get the next one, which is a sub 5, you just take a sub 4 times 2, right? And the general version of that is to get the next term, you take the previous one less than the term we're on, and multiply by 2. So they're saying, isn't this just the right formula? Okay, and that is a really good thought and observation. And so the deal is with a recursive formula, it actually has two parts, right? So I know the explicit formula just has one, but recursive, you need to define a1 and a n. Okay, and the reason is if we take this formula here, I'm going to just do a separate slide here, but here's the formula that just says take the previous terms times 2 to get the next one. This doesn't uniquely define a sequence, right? The formula should be uniquely defined for one different sequence, but if this is my rule, this is my formula, I can actually make infinite sequences this way, right? We could have one that starts with 1 and then you multiply by 2. That'd be one possible sequence. We could also start with, say, I don't know, 3 and then multiply by 2. That'd be a different sequence. We could start with 5, multiply by 2. We could start with 10, multiply by 2. Okay, so each one of these is a different sequence, right? So this little formula doesn't uniquely define a sequence, right? So that's why we have to specify a second part, which is where do we want to start, right? So if I wanted to say do this sequence down here, right, I would write this recursive formula part, but then I would also say I want a1 to be 5, right? Then it would be a unique, there'd only be one sequence that matches this set of information, right, if you have those two things. So back on our question, anytime it says recursive formula, you're going to need to do both a1 and then an using an minus 1. Okay, you're going to need both of these parts each time for recursive. Okay, which makes the right answer to, I forget what this one is, I think, 8. Makes the right answer look like that. They should have both of those parts for recursive. Okay, hopefully that clears things up. Please let me know if it doesn't.